Hard to believe that the final character in the Combat Pack DLC drops in exactly 1 month. I'm telling you guys, time, it flies. It really does. Hey, what's up? Your boy Dynasty back with some more MK1, MK Uno for you guys today because you got a few things of note to discuss about this guy, Takeda Takahashi, aka Kenshi's son. Or is he? According to Fumo leaks, who's actually leaked more recently the gear items for Homelander before Homelander dropped, the whole Scream ordeal situation, Fumo actually came out and shared some details in regards to Takeda's customization options. What gear piece can you actually select and customize for Takeda? We now know, and that's gonna be your hint. This is, I'm giving you a hint to what it could be. Shocker. It's probably his mask. Also, while we're here, we've never really touched base with the whole origin story for this version of Takeda. And obviously, we saw Takeda at the very end of the MK1 story mode along with the rest of the Combat Kids. And, you know, that's not necessarily canon to who we'll be seeing in terms of the actual DLC character because, well, that was Armageddon. Who knows what version of those kids we got at the end of the game. But speaking of what version of Takeda, now keep this in mind. We've seen previously that the leaked intro dialogue has been slightly changed, sometimes kind of drastically, sometimes slightly. But according to like Takeda's intros of several characters on the roster, there may be some type of future Trunks, if you watch Dragon Ball, role going on of Takeda where he's essentially from another timeline. Shocker. Whoa, the future, and he's kind of coming back in time to not only stop the Yakuza with his father, but not let anyone know that Kenshi's his father. According to Takeda, they're cousins? They're cousins. Distant cousins? It's a weird situation, so we're gonna go over a few intros of note that got leaked day 1 for Mortal Kombat 1. It was found the source code has been removed since then, so again, keep that in mind. Things are always subject to change, but you know, I figure with this being the last DLC character, what information do we know? Apparently, they might be cousins, or it could be a ruse, and Takeda just doesn't want anybody to know that that's actually Kenshi's son, and he's trying to fix the timeline. I don't know, but drop a like for Takeda being the Mortal Kombat version of Trunks. Or if you missed my face here on the bottom left-hand side of your screen again, shout out to you guys for watching my other content I've been dropping lately, doing reactions, talk about Gears of War E-Day. I've been having a blast lately, so if you've clicked on those videos apart from these MK stuff, hey, I love you. You're a real one. If not, no worries. MK videos are here to stay. Regardless if this is the end of the DLC, which it's not, we're going to get at least one more DLC pack announced, I'm thinking, probably next month at EVO. I'm just saying, it's probably gonna happen. But with that said, I'll stop yapping and let's get into everything Takeda Takahashi. Now, in regards to the customizable gear options for Takeda, Fumo Leaks came out and sent the final leak for Combat Pack Uno. Takeda's gear will be, drum roll, his mask. Which again, shocker. You can customize Takeda's mask. Whoa. I had no idea that was gonna be a thing. It makes the most sense, and I mean, considering the fact that like the mask was already being removed a few times in the cutscene accidentally, I guess that kind of gave away that Asu can probably be taken away and have like a maskless Takeda along with a bunch of other options. We talked about this, I want to say like 7-8 months ago, courtesy of the Thinny. You can see here. Here's Takeda unmasked, and his mask is it's slightly off. So yeah. Takeda will have multiple options for his mask, you know? Wish it could have been his cool little lightsabers or his whips, but hey, you know, beggars can't be choosers, and we'll be making our guy look different on the face. Now, I'm gonna go invisible because I'm covering a lot of this stuff here, so let me go invisible, but if you look closely here, there's a dialogue between Lee Mei and Takeda right here that I'm highlighting. It says, "You and Kenshi are cousins. Distant cousins." And some people are taking this completely literal and taking this confirmation that this means that Takeda's dad is not Kenshi. Which, I guess, you know, that's a possibility given the fact that, well, he's saying right here, we're distant cousins. despite them sharing a last name, which again is valid if they are cousins. You know, maybe Kenshi's not his dad, maybe, but if you keep on reading the rest of these intros, courtesy of MK Warehouse, you can see just like his father, he's trying to take down the Yakuza. And again, kind of seems like him and his dad still have some type of connection other than actually, you know, taking down the Yakuza. I believe Garrus mentions they've always had this connection in various timelines. So, could cousins really have that much of a connection? I guess they can. I guess we've already seen that in Mortal Kombat. Cough, cough, you know who I'm talking about. But, you know, let's go over a few of these of note, because I think a few of these are pretty interesting and worthwhile. Now, as for the relationship with Kenshi, I'm going to give you guys a full overview of every intro with Kenshi, plus every reference of Kenshi with Takeda with the rest of the MK1 roster. So kicking things off, Havik says, "You blocked my path. This isn't your fight." Takeda says, "After what you did to Kenshi, it is." Peacemaker says, "Takahashi, you relate to the Kenshi guy." Takeda says, "Are you blind? Can't you see the resemblance?" Again, seems like it's still his father. Takeda and Kenshi, "Being with the Shirai Ryu changed me, as I hoped it would, Takeda." So again, this seems to be in canon to the story we saw back in Mortal Kombat X, where he was the protege of Scorpion and part of the Shirai Ryu. Again, just talked about this one. Lee May says, "You and Kenshi are," and he cuts her off, "cousins. Distant cousins." Going on, Baraka says, "You hold Kenshi in low esteem." Takeda says, "Has he been saying that because it isn't true?" So the respect is still there, but there is maybe some type of weird rift with Kenshi because, well, again, if we're going to believe this future Trunks role, maybe he doesn't disclose everything to everyone else. And again, just like the Lee May intro, he's trying to play it off to some people like he doesn't really know him like that. They're just cousins and not necessarily that this is his father. Going on with Kenshi, "Learn from my mistakes. Do not trust the Black Dragon." Takeda says, "I don't intend to." Kenshi, I wish he could just say father or cousin, because then we'd have confirmation, but again, that would just give it away clearly. So the wiggle room is probably still being left there on purpose. Garrus says, "Your bond with Kenshi is crucial to your future." That's the quote I was talking about. Takeda says, "I won't force it, Garrus." Going on right here, Takeda and Kung Lao, "Is Kenshi different since being blinded?" Kung Lao says, "It sharpened his edge." So he never even knew Kenshi post being blinded in this timeline. You see? You see? You see? Why would he ask that? He hasn't been around Kenshi long enough in this timeline. And obviously, they're probably about the exact same age, right? So it kind of makes it seem like this future Trunks is actually going to be Takeda. Kenshi says, "The Tyra's name must be restored." Takeda says, "It's ancient history. Let it go." Takeda says, "Kenshi keeps mentioning this Madame Bo." Madame Bo confirmed from Combat Back 2. Kung Lao says, "Words can't do her justice. You must meet her." Takeda says, "Kenshi said he knew you, but Johnny says, "Thank you for being appropriately starstruck." So again, eventually they do meet. He mentions Johnny, but this version of Takeda never met this Johnny, and obviously back at MKX, Johnny was in charge of the Special Forces, in particular the Combat Kids, on all those missions. Takeda says here, "Kenshi said you were big, but General Shao says that is the least of my advantages." Takeda says, "Kenshi's lying. No way you are 10,000 years old." Katana says, "Your fawning won't distract me, Earthrealmer." Ermac says, "The Soul Sentinel still must be returned." And Takeda says, "Like you have the power to change Kenshi's mind." Takeda says, "Listen, sorcerer, I won't betray Kenshi in regards to Shang Tsung." And he says, "I am not the one to take no for an answer." Takeda and Kenshi right here, a new one. "My fight is as important as yours." And Kenshi says, "But it's not one you could win." Again, probably in regards to the Yakuza? Johnny says, "So Kenshi straight up whooped your ass, eh?" Takeda says, "Only because he has a magic sword." Kenshi and Takeda intro again. "There is little of the gangster's life I miss." Takeda says, "Same, except for Chiyoko." Kenshi says, "You can't beat the Yakuza alone." And Takeda says, "Then help me or stay out of my way." So again, they both share the exact same purpose. He's probably trying to stop the Yakuza before his dad gets killed by them, maybe. Again, future Trunks going to this timeline, trying to make sure that his dad could actually have a Takeda of his own. I'm spitballing here, but you see what I'm saying. Takeda says, "To say the Takahashis, destroy the Yakuza," and Kenshi says, "No, that will take too long." So the rift right here Takeda and Scorpion, when Kenshi first brought me to you, best not stir up bad memories. So I guess even in this timeline, Takeda was obviously, I guess, still the protege? I suppose? Kung Lao and Takeda, quit now before I embarrass you. You're as cocky as Kenshi says. So, some things never change. Takeda and Kenshi's last intro here, it says, you were on me from the start, weren't you? And Kenshi says, I had my suspicions. And this sounds like Kenshi's interfering with Takeda's task of destroying the Yakuza. So, it is very interesting how this is playing out in these intros. One last one in regards to Shang Tsung asking about Sento. Takeda says, you won't get anywhere near Kenshi's sword. So again, that's every intro with Kenshi and every intro that mentions and references his father. Definitely not his distant cousin. But it's super interesting because, again, I guess obviously once we see the ending, all these questions will probably be answered. In regards to, again, Takeda taking down the Yakuza, Katana says, these Yakuza you fight, they are thieves, killers. And Takeda says, and much, much more. Liu Kang giving him advice, I guess, in regards to taking down the Yakuza. The straight path is a narrow one, Takeda says, and I don't plan to stray from it. So he's still trying to be honorable despite the task at hand. Quan Chi says, if it is retribution you seek, I can help. Takeda says, and make a deal with the devil, forget it. So again, Takeda's trying to kill the Yakuza for some reason. He knows something that Kenshi probably doesn't know. This one I think is also interesting as well. Takeda says, your new era hasn't gone well for me. And Liu Kang says, blame your ancestors' poor choices. Takeda and Garrus here. Takeda says, why is my fate Liu Kang's business? And Garrus says, because your role has been critical in all prior timelines. Again, this is obviously with his relationship with his father, something is brewing at least. And speaking of just Liu Kang in general, with Liu Kang says here, your cousin's cause is noble, and Takeda says that doesn't make it mine. Again, the all-knowing Liu Kang calling his cousin's cause noble. Is he in on it and trying to make sure that people don't know that it's not his cousin, it's actually his dad? You see what I mean? This is why I keep going back and forth. It's so interesting. I thought this one was also interesting, a little Matrix reference here. I'm not sure I'm ready for gods and monsters. And Johnny says, too late, Takahashi. Liu Kang's all out of blue pills. So, I don't know, this multiverses thing, man, it's happening. Seek repentance, not retribution. Takeda says, I seek justice, Liu Kang. What happened? What did the Yakuza do to Kenshi? So I think it's super interesting. Obviously, all those intros could be changed by the time Takeda drops in exactly 1 month from now if you do have the early access. But guys, that's all I got for y'all today. The gear piece you can customize appears to be his mask. Is he our version of Future Trunks? Don't know, but obviously I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Probably can piece together a better idea of what's going on than I can off the top. It just seems like he's from the future and he's trying to stop something happening to his cousin, his dad. But if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a solid. It takes you a second. Please drop a like on it, of course. Subscribe to some more MK content like this on the channel. Till next time, video host, been Dynasty. Guys, please take care, stay safe. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
On it crack, but I'm not superstitious.